But again, this could quickly change and become much worse. These are all projections, and we must prepare to be hit by a devastating hurricane. Remember, these are simply projections. Hurricane warnings are in effect from north of Golden Beach in Miami-Dade County to Sebastian Inlet in Brevard County and Lake Okeechobee. There's currently a hurricane watch in effect for Sebastian Inlet to Fernandina Beach in Nassau County. There's a tropical storm warning in effect for Caloosahatchee, Chokoloskee, and Collier County to Golden Beach, Florida Keys from 7 Mile Bridge eastward, and Florida Bay. This is a dangerous storm and is never too early to evacuate. It is never too early to evacuate. If you live in a low-lying area, on a barrier island, or an area prone to flooding, you need to consider making your plans now to leave. Don't wait for the order to do it. If you know that you're prone to flooding, you're in a barrier island, a low-lying area, go ahead and leave. Current evacuations include Brevard County. Mandatory evacuations for barrier islands is at 3 p.m. today. St. Lucie County, voluntary evacuations have already started. I've spoken to all 67 Florida counties, and I stress to them the importance of getting their evacuation plans ready now. The state stands ready with resources to help counties with safe sheltering and evacuation if any local communities need it. I expect to hear more this morning from coastal counties on their evacuation plans. Again, I fully expect to hear more this morning from our coastal counties on their evacuation plans. Our number one priority is protecting life. The storm has already killed multiple people, and we should expect the same impact in Florida if people do not take this seriously. If an evacuation order is issued for your area, don't wait, leave immediately. Once the storm comes, we cannot put first responders' lives at risk. You must leave before it's too late. During the storm, we cannot put first responders' life at risk. You've got to prepare yourself. We cannot rebuild a home. We cannot rebuild a business. We can rebuild a home. We can rebuild a business, but we cannot rebuild your life. Follow the directions of your local officials. Listen to them. This is serious, and your safety depends on you being prepared and staying alert to all warnings and orders. Many coastal counties are preparing to open shelters today. These are shelters for special needs, for pets, and for general population. There are shelters for everyone. There's absolutely no excuse not to evacuate. There was a lady down in Panacea in Hurricane Hermine. She had 4 pets. She did not evacuate in a mandatory evacuation. Once it got up to 1.5 feet, she decided to go out and start to evacuate. The water was coming very rapidly. If there had not been a high water vehicle to take her to safety, she would have perished. There are special needs shelters and there are pet shelters. You can take your pets. If you're on Florida's East Coast, you should know today where you will go if you have to evacuate. Know your evacuation plans now. Don't wait until an evacuation order. If you're able to leave early and go now, do it. If you wait, there's going to be a lot of traffic. Go now. We'll do everything we can to alleviate the traffic, but there's going to be traffic in a mandatory evacuation. There always is. No one should take any risk. I love my family. I want my family to take any risk. I don't want any family to take a risk. I urge you to visit floridadisaster.org. Here you can find your closest shelter as well as information on road closures. It's very important you know where you can go for a shelter before you need it. You don't know when you're going to lose power. Now is the time to know your evacuation plan. You don't know when you're going to lose power. Please check the website with your local officials or your local news. This can save your life. Just remember, when you lose power, you're not going to be able to find out this information. School closures. Brevard County, closed Thursday and Friday. Broward County, closed Thursday and Friday. Martin County, school will be dismissed early today. Schools closed Thursday and Friday. Indian River, there will be early dismissal today. Schools closed Thursday and Friday. Palm Beach County, closed Thursday and Friday. St. Lucie County, there will be early dismissal today. Schools closed Thursday and Friday. Florida School for Deaf and Blind, closed today, Thursday and Friday. Each county school board is responsible for school closings. Each county school board will be making these decisions. I know they will continue to make these decisions today. Yesterday, I activated 200 National Guard members across the state, and this morning I activated another 300. We are already staging them around the state to get prepared. In addition, we have over 6,000 more National Guard members ready to be activated. The National Guard will be focused on staging to perform search and rescue. We'll be ready to assist our counties as they need it. With a storm of this magnitude, we are very concerned about prolonged power outages. Let's remember what happened with Ermine and how long in the Leon County we were without power. That could happen anywhere around the state. We know that when there is no power, lives are clearly more at risk. I've stayed in constant contact with utilities across the state and was glad to hear yesterday that many have reported that they have already pre-positioned resources to ensure they can respond quickly. We had a conference call yesterday with the utilities. I asked them what their pre-positioning plan was and if they have any unmet needs and where they're going to get needs after the fact. Once the storm hits, our utilities will also start reporting outage and restoral information to the state. Our Department of Transportation is currently doing the following. They've halted all of their road work projects on interstates and evacuation routes. They've been removing materials that block roads to facilitate possible evacuations. They're very focused on making sure roads are clear. They're ensuring that there is fuel and road rangers on Florida's turnpikes and preparing possible evacuation routes. For information on road and bridge closures, please check fl511.com. Highway Safety has made contact with local troops in preparation for supporting evacuations in the major corridors, south to north, east to west. Their top priority is helping people move to safety. They have an entire plan ready to be activated. FDLE and Fish and Wildlife are also preparing to deploy troops to help with safe evacuations and response and recovery. Fish and Wildlife has teams and equipment in place to help with search and rescue efforts. They've got high water vehicles. They were very helpful after Ermine. The state has been in contact with fuel industry partners, and at this time, there are no reported supply, distribution, or retail fuel shortages. We have 3 veteran nursing homes on the East Coast. All have generators and are preparing staff and supplies to care for their residents. With regard to fuel, we're already hearing a couple of places where there's some fuel shortages, but it's at the station level. We have plenty of fuel in that area, and we'll be sending more fuel there. DEP has issued a partial closure for Sebastian Inlet State Park in Brevard County. There are no other park closures at this time. All ports and airports remain open at this time. Visit Florida. They're working with local tourism officials to ensure visitors are kept safe and informed and provide options in case of evacuations. Now's the time to check on your neighbors. If you have a neighbor that you know that's elderly, that has special needs, that's disabled, has any reason why they might not be able to react quickly and can't take care of themselves, go next door, go around your neighborhood, take care of everybody. We saw people. We all have to work together to make sure we don't lose one life. Just remember, this is a potentially catastrophic storm. Each individual, 3 days of water, 3 days of food, medication, battery-powered radio, battery backups, fully charged cell phones. Once you lose power, you will not be able to recharge your cell phone. Your cell phone might be your only contact with somebody else or your only way of getting information. Again, if Matthew directly impacts Florida, the destruction could be catastrophic, and you need to be prepared. We are preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best, and we're not going to take any chances. I hope no one in the state takes any chances. Florida knows how to prepare, and everyone must take this seriously. Do not take any chances, and do not wait. Be ready now. Know your evacuation zone. If you anticipate you're going to have to evacuate, don't wait until the traffic's up. Again, if you think you're going to have to evacuate, do it now. Do not wait. When there's a mandatory evacuation, there's going to be traffic. You're going to be stuck in traffic. It'll be harder to evacuate. It'll be harder to get to where you know you need to go. We are focused on protecting life. We will continue to provide updates on this life-threatening storm as it develops and approaches our state. Our next briefing will be for the National Hurricane Center at 11:15, and I will be heading to St. Lucie County now to meet with emergency management officials there. Where I'm going to continue to be talking to mayors, emergency management officials, sheriffs, to make sure everybody's prepared and taking this seriously. We'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has.
Governor, you touched on it a little bit, and you mentioned Hurricane Hermine a lot, and Director Kuhn, you could chime in after this too. Is there anything you learned from going through that storm that you think could help better prepare people for this?
Well, the one thing I saw was that the utilities, the co-ops work with the co-ops, the municipals work with the municipals, and the big publicly traded work with each other. My goal is, and we had a call yesterday, I want them all to work together. Right? And now, if they get all the resources they need, that's great. I just want to make sure if they need resources, that one, they're pre-positioned resources, and two, if they need resources, don't just rely on the co-ops for the co-ops, the municipals for the municipals, and the big four for the big four utilities. I want them all to work together because we need power back quickly. If you just think about the issues we dealt with Hermine, think about how many people, their jobs were impacted, school was impacted, their lives were changed because it took a few days to get our power back. I don't want that to happen again. I want power back as quickly as we can get it back.
Suggest to you that the municipal should be, did that suggest to you that the municipal should be regulated by the PSC?
No, I'm not getting into that. I want everybody to get their power back. This is not the time for politics, what they should do. I just want everybody to get their power. We had a good call yesterday. We went through all the counties that we think might be impacted right now. We went through each utility and how they're getting ready.
Governor, can I pick up on your comments about elderly and special needs citizens? We've got a lot of people who are not going to be able to evacuate very far, but they can't stay where they are. These are people in wheelchairs. They need a steady supply of oxygen. Some of them have dementia. How prepared is the state to shelter those citizens?
The state's prepared. We've already started sheltering special needs individuals, those that have additional needs. But we're going to do our part. But everybody's, check on your neighbors, check on your family members, check on anybody you think might need help. We have sheltering opportunities in every county, and so it ultimately is up to you. You got to take care of yourself, and you got to take care of your loved ones, and you got to take care of your neighbors.
Governor, I know you said everyone's got to get prepared no matter what the projections might say. Do we have a firm idea of what the impacts are going to be, not only just along the coast in Central Florida, but inland as well? And if you could, if somebody could talk about the importance of people inland as well, making sure that they're prepared.
Well, let's think about it. Where we are. We know what on the coast. We know. Let's say we don't get a direct impact. We know we're going to have storm surge. We're going to have a lot of rain, and we're going to have significant wind. We're going to have rip currents. We're going to have beach erosion. But even inland, I mean, as this goes along, there's going to be a lot of rain. It's slow moving. If you look at what's happened since I got elected back in 2010, the storms that we've had that were not hurricanes, we still got a lot of rain. Let's go back to it was in 2012 when we had the hurricane that went off towards Louisiana. We got all those rain bands in Palm Beach, and they had more flooding than they've had for I think 100 years there. So the middle of the state, we still have to assume we're going to get a lot of rain. The state's saturated already. I mean, we've gotten a lot of rain this year, so we're going to have flooding if we get much rain.
The dike that's holding up the south end of Lake Okeechobee, that's been under construction or under repair since 2007. Is there any concern there with all the rainfall that's expected for the Lake O area?
I've been talking to Colonel Kirk from the Corps of Engineers. Clearly, it all depends on how much rain we get, but they will do everything they can to keep everybody safe. They know how much more water they can take, and clearly, if they have to release water, they're going to release water. They'll do all the releases they need. So right now, based on the projections, and I'll talk to Colonel Kirk again today, but based on the projections, Colonel Kirk believes that they're in decent shape. The lakes, when I talked to him day before yesterday, the lake was, I think, at 15.7. So.
Are you at all worried about that? I mean, last time that there was a dike that was near a major city and there was a major storm coming our way, it was, catastrophe in Louisiana.
Sure. I've stayed up with the Corps, and they have projections about how much water they can take. Now, what we're going to see is we can see a lot of rain. I mean, we can see a lot of wind going over Okeechobee. That's going to push. But right now, I think the Corps feels comfortable in my discussions with them.
Governor, when you say people should evacuate, given it's all up and down the I-95 corridor, where should they go? And as well, are you suspending tolls on toll roads? And what do you advise the local expressway authorities to do?
we have plenty of sheltering opportunities in the same county that where you live. You don't have to go that many. You don't have to go way far inland. We got sheltering opportunities in every county. So you can go inland a few miles and be safe. We have not suspended tolls yet. We will do that if we need to. So those decisions will be made as we hear from the counties about their evacuation plans. So that's my goal at this point is I'm going to spend a lot of time on making sure we know exactly what every coastal county's evacuation plan is. I want to hear everyone and what their plan is, because the way I think about it, you have to assume it's going to hit directly to your area. All right, because it's not going to be very far off our coast. And our best case is going to be barely off our coast.
If and when an evacuation order does come through, let's just take the case of Brevard, since it's there. You said there is one. Does that mean 3 o'clock you need to start thinking about leaving, or does that mean they need to be out of if they need to evacuate by?
Once you know they're going to evacuate, you have to start leaving. All right. The goal is if they say everyone's doing it a little bit different. Everybody will do it differently. But if they say there's going to be evacuation at 3 o'clock, then at 3 o'clock everybody needs to start leaving. So, but what I would do is if you know there's going to be evacuation at 3 o'clock, you ought to get going now.
Our schools are in session in Brevard today, though, so it's like they get out at like 1:15. There's not a lot of turnaround.
But they're making the counties will be making a decision based on how many people they believe and how long it takes to evacuate.
They have to decide to pull the trigger on mandatory evacuations. What time are we looking at for that decision?
We went over that this morning. Every county has different. It takes a different amount of time to do the evacuations, depending on how far you're going to go and things like that. We are able to evacuate into that own county. You don't have to evacuate way into Orlando or something like that. But everybody still has enough time for the evacuation.
Governor,
But that's something we're going to focus on today a lot.
Governor, as this is happening, obviously this week ballots are going out to people who requested mail ballots here in Florida. Do you think that's going to affect the election at all? And what do people do if they're evacuating their homes?
So, the nice thing about our state is you've got lots of opportunities to vote. You can vote by mail, you can vote early, and then you still have the opportunity to vote on election day. So it's not like we just have one day in our state. So you've got a lot of opportunities to vote. So it's not going to, it won't have any impact.
Governor, in the case of gas availability, what would be the situation if Port Everglades closes?
Well, we believe right now that we're in good shape. If it closes, we'll have to make a decision at that point. But right now, we believe that we're in good shape, and we clearly get fuel from the West Coast.
Anyone else? Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.